very good afternoon to you. And after all the excitement we enjoyed this summer, it's a pleasure to be back as we get ready for the start of the 26-27 campaign. And what better way to get things underway than with the traditional curtain raiser, as the winners of the top domestic league in England take on the winners of the oldest trophy in the land. It's Manchester City taking on Arsenal, coming from the Principality Stadium in Cardiff, with the chance to pick up the first piece of silverware of the new season. For Enzo Maresca, it's an opportunity to show to the world what he can bring to Manchester City, his first official game in the dugout, as he takes over after the remarkable and trophy-laden era of Pep Guardiola. And for Mikel Arteta, following what was a magnificent campaign last season, he'll be hoping to get his hands on a trophy at the very first opportunity. Arsenal have lifted this trophy 17 times already, and they have a perfect record against City in this competition. The two sides have met twice before, and Arsenal have won on both occasions, most recently in 2023 when they prevailed through on penalties. So for both sides, this is the chance to kickstart the season in style, with a trophy up for grabs before the Premier League campaign has even begun. With perhaps the two leading sides in English football right now coming together in Cardiff, we'll take you through the starting lineups in just a second, and there's some big news among those players as well. But before I share that with you, just to remind you that if you have access to watching the game through your domestic TV provider, then don't forget to tune in there. Otherwise, my name is Simon Walters, and I'll be here guiding you through all the action in our unofficial and studio-based audio commentary. Okay, I mentioned some big names. Well, we have debutants listed in both sides. Bruno Guimaraes starts in the heart of the midfield for the Gunners, along with Christos Solis, starting his campaign on the left-hand side of the attacking three. And as for Manchester City, all part of Enzo Maresca's midfield rebuild, its record signing, a mere 116 million from Nottingham Forest, Elliot Anderson will start in that pivot holding midfield role. So having a look at the full teams, David Raya is back in goal for Arsenal, coming back from his exploits with Spain in the summer. The back four of Calafiori, Gabriel Mosquera, filling in for Saliba, who's out for the first couple of months of the season with an injury. Ben White at right back. The midfield three sees Luis Skelly, Guimaraes and Captain Ødegaard, and in front of them Christos Solis, Kai Havertz and Noni Madueke, also back from his action with the national side during the summer. Manchester City also name a very strong side. Gianluigi Donnarumma, who's had a restful summer in goal. Nico O'Reilly, Guardiola, Ruben Dias wearing the captain's armband, and Kusanov, the back four. Elliot Anderson and Kovacic in the pivot. Doku, Foden, an important season lies await for him, and Semenyo in front of them. And leading the line, it is, of course, Erling Haaland. There was talk about maybe Mamouche starting today, but Haaland is named in what is a very strong side for Enzo Maresca. But I tell you what, if we look at the bench as well, that is where there is some real strength here. Arsenal have Kepa, Hincapié, Rice, Eze, Zubimendi, Mikel Merino, Saka, and Dauman and Gokares all available on the bench. I mean, what a strength in numbers there is there. Mark Guehi, Nunes, Rico Lewis, Nico Gonzalez and Ryan Cherki all on the bench for Manchester City. And then, of course, there's the return of Jack Grealish, awaiting to see if he has a future with Manchester City or will he be moving on again this season. A lot of talk always happens around this time of year about how much this competition matters. Is it important? Do teams take it seriously? Well, you asked the winners of it last year, Crystal Palace, do they take it seriously? They certainly did. Last year's winners against Liverpool, with a Justin Devaney penalty in the shootout, securing victory for the Eagles last time out. It has been, in recent years, the FA Cup winners that have been the most dominant in this competition. In fact, it's been 6 of the last times out have been won by the FA Cup winners, and that just shows perhaps a shift in how this trophy has been played out. It's only one time in the last 15 occasions that the team that have won this competition have gone on to enjoy league success as well, and that was Manchester United in 2011. But needless to say, if we look at these starting lineups, both managers have placed a great deal of importance in this competition. It's not being played at Wembley, as you might expect. That's been booked out today for a concert. So we are here instead in the Welsh capital, enjoying the beautiful Principality Stadium, and it is a capacity crowd in the afternoon sunshine in Wales, ready for an exciting game. What a summer we've had of football as well. So much excitement we've been able to enjoy throughout the summer, and now here we are again. One thing I've been preparing for is saying Enzo Maresca and not Pep Guardiola. It feels strange, doesn't it, when talking about this Manchester City side, but they are a side in the throes of a rebuild. The midfield especially, with Rodri probably on his way out. He's not on the bench today. He still has the lingering back issues, of course. He's not even on the bench today for Manchester City, and it definitely has the feeling of that midfield rebuild. Phil Foden is back in the side, and that is probably with Bernardo Silva and his move earlier on in the summer to Real Madrid, giving that space for Phil Foden once again to stake his claim at the heart of the Manchester City midfield. He has perhaps reason to feel disappointed not to have been named in Thomas Tuchel's England side during the summer competitions, but now he has the perfect opportunity to get back into the Manchester City side under Enzo Maresca, to be once again part of the starting 11 and perhaps prove his worth for international competitions as well. Transfer window, a mere £116 million, give or take. That's a lot of pressure on the young man as well, you have to say. We spoke about Jack Grealish coming back, and that's another player who perhaps suffered a little bit under the weight of his very heavy price tag indeed. And will Elliot Anderson be able to cope with that pressure? Jack Grealish did speak to the media midway through his difficulties playing for Manchester City about the pressure he felt, and he felt a little bit relieved of that when he went out on loan last season to Everton. We'll have to see if he still has a future in Manchester City colours as well. There are a few formalities going on the pitch, hence the slightly delayed kickoff. Bruno Guimaraes is there, receiving his instructions, and it will of course be really interesting to see what he can bring to this side. An absolutely fantastic midfielder, very energetic player, really does look for the ball in multiple positions across the pitch. In fact, I think it would be fair to make a comparison between Guimaraes and the man who left the Manchester City midfield, Bernardo Silva, just in terms of the way they both go out looking for the ball all of the time, really trying to make things happen on the pitch. Christos Solis also with a fantastic opportunity, while some of the other players are eased back into that Arsenal side. Saka, Eze not involved in the pre-season campaign as their minutes have been managed. Declan Rice too, also with minutes that have been managed in the lead-up to this game. Sam Barrett will be your man in the middle as he now makes his way to the centre of the pitch. Both teams huddling together, both playing in their regular home jerseys. Arsenal, the Gunners in red and white, City in the sky blue. It's a lovely afternoon in Cardiff. Arsenal will be playing in from the left to the right. It's the near side of the pitch, covered currently in the shade. Manchester City going from right to left. So the likes of O'Reilly and Ben White will be able to enjoy a little bit of shade as they get things started. Those on the other side will have to contend with the early sunshine. And we're ready to go, folks. Arsenal getting us started. Gabriel knocking the ball forward here. And now Arsenal coming through with Calafiori on the left-hand side. Tries to play the ball into the middle. He'll have another go at this Calafiori. Now knocks it forward to Madueke. Madueke plays the ball towards the back post. It's nodded on nicely. Comes out towards the back post with Ben White. Played forward once again. Calafiori will try and chase this down. And Arsenal have gone ahead in 25 seconds. Would you believe it? Manchester City have not even touched the ball yet. And Calafiori have put them ahead in the trophy opportunity, the first one of the season. Calafiori has the goal. Enzo Maresca's first official game in charge of the citizens has seen them concede in what must be record time in this competition. Statisticians, let me know out there if there's ever been a quicker goal in this competition. Arsenal have just been allowed to walk the ball into the back of the net. Madueke heads it back outside to the edge of the box. It's knocked forward. Calafiore gets hold of the ball and is just able to walk it through. He has so much space, and it's the simplest of touches afforded to the Arsenal left back. The Italian, fresh from a restful summer, has got his first goal of the campaign. And it is euphoria for the Gunners supporters now. Of course, there's an awful lot of football here still to go, but what a remarkable start that is. Now let's have a look to see what can be the Manchester City response. Ruben Diaz with the ball goes all the way back to Donnarumma. Donnarumma with the ball just outside his box. Now plays the ball in front of him to Guardiola. Maresca has it all to do. He shares, of course, the same hairstyle as his predecessor. Will he be able to share the same tactical brilliance? And he now has his first major test of the campaign. It's been a positive pre-season for City in the build-up, but they are now under the kibosh as Diaz, wearing the captain's armband, having taken it from Bernardo Silva after his departure, plays in now to Guardiola. Guardiola makes his way towards the halfway line. He's got Nico O'Reilly on his left if you choose to go from him. Instead, plays it short and into Kovacic. Kovacic over to Kusanov. Kusanov with options in front of him, but chooses instead to go to Diaz. Diaz on the edge of the centre line. Now back to the Croat, Guardiola. Guardiola forced to turn backwards under the pressure from the oncoming Arsenal captain Ødegaard. This time, City finds space on the right-hand side with Semenyo. Antoine Semenyo tries to get through, but Calafiore blocks his pass. Semenyo will try and get something going once again. He tries to turn around. He does find Haaland with the ball. Haaland pushing his way through, manages to knock it forward to Foden. Foden gets it out on the right to Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson with the cross, but that goes straight behind the goal. Not the most convincing first touch of the game for the Englishman. So if you've just tuned in case you were late to the party today, Arsenal have struck blood within the first 25 seconds of this game. Calafiore put them in front with a remarkable start to this game. I don't think we've ever seen such an early goal in this competition before. Will it wake up Manchester City as Guimaraes turned through to Ødegaard, now to Madueke on the right-hand side. Madueke looking to come through the channel on the near side, plays it back in the centre to his captain. Ødegaard puts his foot on the ball, then tries to find the ball through to Havertz. It's dealt with by Guardiola, who'll try to find the clearance. Doku is tripped there by Ben White and earns a free kick. Doku immediately says to Mr. Barrett he thinks there should be a further consequence there to Ben White. Referee not having any of that. Perhaps one critique, and there weren't too many criticisms of Arsenal in their fantastic title-winning season last time out, was that maybe it was just a little bit too organised at times, that there was room to take the brakes off a bit more, but perhaps they're showing they can do that. As now here comes Calafiore, once again arriving to the box and plays it out on the left to Solis. Solis puts the ball in towards the centre, but Donnarumma is able to catch comfortably at his near post, and the Italian, dressed in a sort of olive green, claims comfortably at the near post. Donnarumma biding his time now with the ball at his feet. I presume he's going to clear long. He does go through in the centre. Haaland knocks it forward, looking for the run of Jeremy Doku. Doku, though, unable to get past Ben White. Mosquera coming in to help out there, but the ball goes straight back towards Nico O'Reilly. O'Reilly coming forward on the near side, then plays to Doku. Doku fighting his way through, but he can't get past the English right back. Ben White knocks it out for a throw. O'Reilly takes the throw, throws back to Guardiol. Guardiol edging further towards the box, plays the ball into Kovacic. And you wonder, is Kovacic with the weight of replacing the role of the Spanish MVP in this competition? Rodri, of course, taking his nation to victory, wearing the captain's armband for his nation. Oh, it's given away once again, and now Ødegaard can come through here at pace, right through the centre. He's got options in front of him. It's 3 versus 2. Ødegaard plays the ball back towards Madueke. Madueke tries to cut inside. He just lost a little bit of pace there, Madueke, as Ødegaard's pass was behind him. But now City can break. Phil Foden running down here through the middle, plays it off to his left to Jeremy Doku. Doku arriving into the box now. Doku still going. Will he be able to take the shot? Has to pass it backwards, and that's given to Ødegaard, who's in the perfect position there to take hold of defensive duties. Wonderful work tracking back from Ødegaard. He gives the ball to Calafiori. Calafiori racing high up the pitch, played on the left to Solis. Solis coming through into the box, unable though to get past Kusanov. And now Elliot Anderson will try and help the clearance on the go, finds Semenyo. It's been end-to-end so far in this game, end-to-end and resulting in a goal. Jeremy Doku now just inside the City attacking half. Doku plays the ball back to O'Reilly. O'Reilly to Kovacic in the centre. Now to Phil Foden. Phil Foden to Anderson. Anderson plays back to Kusanov. City just passing the ball in and around the halfway line at this point as they try and prize open a bit of space to stun the Gunners supporters who are singing, as you might expect, North London Forever. Among the chants, the Blue Moon songs have been quieted for now. Foden plays the ball back to Diaz. Diaz back into Phil Foden. City forced back to the halfway line and have to go all the way back to Donnarumma, who's already had a fair bit to do in this first half, including picking the ball out of his net. No action required so far from David Raya in the Arsenal goal. His defenders have been able to mute any attempts to get forward so far from Manchester City. Of course, there are 2 previous winners of this competition on the benches for both sides. Mark Gay was the Crystal Palace captain when they won last year. Eberechi Eze, who's also on the bench for Arsenal, was in that side too. Both of them having minutes slightly managed as they return from their respective national teams. Jeremy Doku on the halfway line, unable to get through, has to pass the ball back to Kovacic, who plays it out on the right-hand side where Antoine Semenyo will pick it up. Semenyo driving down the far side through the channel, trying to get past Calafiori. He does get through him, then turns round. Semenyo turns the ball back to Anderson. Anderson puts the ball in towards the centre. It's headed away by Gabriel for now, but only out as far as Guardiol. Guardiol, considering his options outside the edge of the box, has the possibility of going to Kovacic, he said. Tries to put it towards the back post where Semenyo's making a run. Not too happy with himself though for that ball. Guardiol, who could have perhaps had it a little bit closer to the run of Doku. It just goes behind Doku and out harmlessly for a goal kick. And I think this is the first thing that the Spanish goalkeeper has had to do in the entire game so far. David Raya clears on the left-hand side, looking for Solis. Beaten to it by Kusanov. Now Manchester City will try and build again from the halfway line. Played here into Kovacic. Anderson knocks it back to Diaz. Diaz goes over to Guardiol. Guardiol approaches the halfway line. Looks to his left. Picks out Jeremy Doku with a nice pass. Doku has Nico Gonzalez on the overlap if he decides to. Holds up, using his tricky feet to try and get one on Madueke. Then turns back to Guardiol. Now he's got Kovacic next to him in the hold. Kovacic finds Foden, who drops back into that position really nicely. Foden with the ball over on the right-hand side to Semenyo. Semenyo knocks it forward on the overlap with Elliot Anderson. Anderson goes back to Semenyo, who then goes all the way back to Kusanov. Kusanov back to the retreating Ruben Diaz, who's under pressure there and forced to turn all the way back to his goalkeeper with Kai Havertz forcing him into a bit of a tricky situation, and Donnarumma's subsequent clearance goes all the way back to Ben White, who's more than happy to play it to Mosquera. Now releasing Odegaard on the halfway line. Odegaard plays the ball to Madueke. A little bit behind Madueke then means he has to go back and play the ball to Ben White. Now into Guimaraes. Odegaard once again on the right-hand side to Madueke. Madueke plays the ball back to Odegaard. Odegaard coming through to the centre, then turns back to Gabriel. Gabriel goes left to Luis Kelly. Gabriel once again, the big Brazilian defender, linking up with Mosquera, who will have to be in action at the centre of the Arsenal defence for at least a couple of months while Saliba is on the treatment table. That is certainly a loss for the Gunners. Here is Guimaraes. That's a lovely ball on the right-hand side to Madueke. Madueke coming inside into the box. Madueke puts the ball in the centre and it's turned behind for a corner by Josep Guardiol. And that's a very important defensive intervention by the Manchester City man. That was a dangerous ball in by Madueke. Certainly going to cause problems to the City defence, I should say. Dealt with quickly by Guardiola. But now Arsenal have their first corner of the game. No Declan Rice to take it. It will be Madueke over it, but we know how dangerous the Gunners are from these set-piece occasions. Madueke on the near side, ready to take the corner with what will presumably be the in-swinging ball. Madueke swings it in towards the centre, headed on, out to Odegaard on the edge of the box. Odegaard plays back to Madueke. Another opportunity here for Madueke to put the ball inside the box. He does, and he picks out Ben White. Ben White unable, however, to get past Semenyo. And it goes out for a corner. Looked like Ben White was going to let it run for a throw, but even better, it goes for a corner for the Gunners here, who have certainly been the stronger side. A goal to the good, and a much, much stronger start to this game from the North London 11. As this time, Martin Odegaard will be ready with the out-swinging corner. Plenty of options for him to pick out inside the box. There's a number waiting beyond the far post here. Odegaard's ball towards the back post. Gabriel is pushed down in the box there, and Gabriel believes that he won a penalty. He goes immediately to Sam Barrett, claiming of a foul in the box. Sam Barrett having none of it. Just Kusanov, who catches some of his shirt. Arteta immediately indicating to the fourth officials as well that he thinks there was some shirt pulling there. The officiating team, though, saying no, and I don't think there really was anything worthy of further intervention required there. There's a little bit of coming together between the Brazilian and Kusanov in the box, but he has not too much of a case there. And now Nico O'Reilly receives the ball from his goalkeeper. The Englishman runs the ball backwards and then passes to Donnarumma. Donnarumma holds the ball under his feet and he goes to his left once again. This time it's to Guardiola, who's come over on the left-hand side, plays in the centre to Foden. Foden goes back to O'Reilly. City not finding a way to come forward, so they have to turn backwards this time. Ruben Diaz. Diaz now into O'Reilly, who's right over in the middle, and then coming over on the right-hand side. So I'm not sure if Maresca's already orchestrated some kind of tactical shift here. But it looks like Guardiola currently is much more over on the left-hand side, and O'Reilly's fitting into the centre. That'd be a surprising change, to say the least. Played through now to Phil Foden. Phil Foden goes back to Diaz. This time looking for Anderson, who is dispossessed there by Luis Kelly. City forced once again to rebuild from their own half, and they are making mistakes as they do so, but now they'll try and run the ball forward from the halfway line. Options as they come forward. Kovacic plays the ball to Nico O'Reilly, who's still there in that central position. The slight opportunity for a counter-attack has now been blunted as Arsenal get themselves firmly back into their very well-organised defensive position. Semenyo. Will he find options in front of him? Tries to turn around and then passes back to Kusanov. Kusanov goes back to Diaz. Diaz over to Guardiola. Guardiola looks for options in front of him. Picks out Kovacic, who knocks it back to Kusanov. Kusanov with the ball over the top. Looking here for the run of Foden getting forward. And a little bit too much on that one. and he'll go behind for a goal kick, and it's the second time that we've seen a City attempted ball over the top, just a little bit too heavily weighted, allowing Arsenal an easy goal kick as we approach the 15-minute mark of this tie, with Arsenal currently leading by a 1-0. Calafiori clears long down the pitch. Donnarumma will come to the edge of his area to collect that one happily, and then he rolls it out to Guardiol. Really don't feel I've said the name of Erling Haaland too much at all in these opening stages. Hasn't had much service in towards him whatsoever. Kusanov knocks the ball forward to Anderson. Anderson keeps it in play nicely on the far side and links up with Semenyo, who goes back to Kusanov. Now in towards the centre to Kovacic. Kovacic goes back to Guardiol. Guardiol finds Doku in space on the near side. Doku running against Ben White and Madueke, who's dropping into that defensive position. And that's very much part of the Arsenal shape, to have the likes of Madueke and Solis, who will need to learn that as well, to drop back into those defensive positions. Foden with a nice ball to Elliot Anderson. Anderson with the ball in the centre. He was looking for Haaland there. A little bit too pacey, the ball though from Anderson, but he does get a thumbs up from the Norwegian. It's a nice, well-hit ball actually from Elliot Anderson. And Doku nearly able to pick it up as well before it went behind for a goal kick. That's the best we've seen so far of Manchester City, and that's not saying that much, I have to be honest with you folks. If you are here listening to us as a Manchester City supporter, you'll be hoping to hear a little bit of an improvement as we get into the next stage of this first half. Gabriel plays the ball forward to Lewis Skelly. Skelly trying to find the run of Solis. Dealt with though by Kusanov, who gives the ball into Guardiol. Now to Anderson. Anderson with the ball forward to Foden, who's allowed to turn, and then passes out to Semenyo on the far side. The former Bournemouth man plays back to Anderson. Anderson dribbles the ball inside and then knocks it back to Diaz. Over to Guardiol now. This time into Kovacic. Kovacic plays the ball through in towards the centre. Foden will try and chase it down, but Mosquera is able to get there before him and then knocks it to his left to Gabriel. Gabriel turns the ball back to his keeper, and City now just starting to exert a little bit more pressure. Arsenal just finding it a bit more difficult at the moment to get out of their own half. Ben White knocks in to Skelly. Lewis Skelly with the ball in the centre, hands it over to Gabriel, who goes back to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly with the ball through the middle to Ben White, a little bit too heavily weighted there by Lewis Skelly. Nico Gonzalez mops it up and passes it back to his goalkeeper, who then plays the ball out to Kovacic in the centre. Now to Elliot Anderson. Elliot Anderson, that's a lovely pass through to Phil Foden. Phil Foden can run here. Foden still going through midfield, and a nice pass forward to Semenyo. Semenyo, will he be able to find a cross? Instead, turns backwards to Anderson. Anderson goes back to Kusanov. Kusanov into Diaz. Not looking just yet to find anybody in the box, City. Back to Kusanov, who knocks forward to Semenyo. Semenyo turns back to Kusanov, and you wonder why did City not try to find a ball into the box there. They're lacking just a little bit of urgency, considering they are a goal down as we approach the 20-minute mark. Semenyo now, that's a lovely ball to Foden. Foden from outside the box with the shot. Raya saves, and it's parried out, but an opportunity for Riley to Haaland. And David Raya gets down to his right and makes a brilliant save there to deny Erling Haaland from close range. In fact, it's a two-save situation as O'Reilly does really well to recover the ball after Foden's shot is saved first by David Raya, diving to his right. Nico O'Reilly keeps the ball in play. Haaland has a shot from close range, and it's an excellent save from David Raya, who's actually going to be awarded a free kick in the process there. We'll try and catch exactly what the cause of the free kick was there. But that is still very, very good goalkeeping from the Spaniard to deny Manchester City on two occasions. But the citizens have now woken up in this game. It took them a while, didn't it, to get going, but they are now firmly out of second gear and up and running. This is where Arsenal, you think, could really do with a second goal as well, just to make sure they can abate the City threat, as Havertz is caught there. On the near side, he's down clutching his head. It's Kovacic who catches him. Just a little bit late there, Mateo Kovacic. No cards as yet from referee Sam Barrett. Ben White here on the near side, getting himself ready to take the free kick. He passes back to Mosquera, who in turn passes along the line to Gabriel, and he then goes to Calafiore. Calafiore running down that left-hand side, picks up Solis. They play the 1-2 together. Now back inside to Luis Skelly. Lovely ball over him, a right-hand side. That'll find Madueke in acres of space on the near side. Madueke dribbling in towards the box, using his feet really well here. Madueke still going, twisting and turning past Semenyo. Madueke still, eventually Nico O'Reilly stands in his way, but that's a lovely little give and go. Now is another opportunity for Arsenal to play the ball in the centre. It was Guimaraes who picked up the ball, couldn't find a teammate though. Another opportunity here with Madueke on the corner of the box, plays the ball in towards the centre to Luis Skelly. He plays out to Guimaraes. Guimaraes with the ball in towards the centre now, looking for the arriving Kai Havertz, but instead goes towards the grateful gloves of the Italian shot stopper, who's there in the perfect position to take advantage. But Arsenal are themselves coming back into a pressure cooker here. It's lovely footwork, it has to be said, from Noni Madueke there to keep that attack going. And now the ball is played long. Jeremy Doku down here on the near side. This could be really dangerous for Manchester City. Doku coming inside the box. Doku still going here, trying to play it into the centre, but that is excellent defending by Gabriel, who makes himself big, gets in the way of Doku, and he receives multiple high fives there from his teammates. That is really superlative defending from Gabriel. What a player he is, what a season in store for him, who makes sure that Jeremy Doku can't put the ball into the box, because that would have been a really dangerous opportunity if he picks out a certain you-know-who. Elliot Anderson will take the corner here on the near side for the Citizens. You know who he's going to aim for, don't you? Anderson with the ball towards the back post. Semenyo tries to get for it, but David Raya does excellently there to jump high, make himself big, and make the catch in the air. And that is solid work. In the meantime, Phil Foden picked up a yellow card for a foul off the ball. And that is just because as Solis tried to run away to pick up a quick clearance from the goalkeeper, he is hauled to the ground by Phil Foden. Phil Foden saying, "Welcome to England, son." Or Wales, I should say, in this case. And he earns himself his name in the referee's book. Not perhaps what he was hoping for on his return to the starting lineup in Enzo Maresco's team, as David Raya takes the free kick, headed on by Havertz, trying to find him once again in the centre. Manchester City managing to clear right now, but only as far as Gabriel. City looking again to get themselves clear. Elliot Anderson playing the ball in the direction of Haaland, but Mosquera stands in front of him and manages to stab a pass back to his goalkeeper. That's also solid defensive work by Mosquera. And now Guimaraes will try and take the ball forward. Plays over to the right-hand side where his captain gladly picks it up. Now goes back to Ben White. Plays it short this time to Guimaraes. Then goes back to Gabriel. Gabriel looks to dribble towards the halfway line before pivoting to Luis Skelly, who's under pressure from Haaland, forced to go back to Gabriel, now into Mosquera. Mosquera knocks the ball forward here to Ødegaard. Ødegaard turns well and then passes to Ben White. White knocks forward to Madueke. Madueke has to go backwards with a pass a little bit too heavily weighted, but Ødegaard just about brings it under his spell. And this time, Arsenal will come forward from within their own half once again. 25 minutes played here at the Principality in Cardiff, where Arsenal lead after a 25-second goal by Calafiore. Before Manchester City had really had their coffee, Arsenal had struck And now White with a lovely ball knocked forward to Madueke. This could be really dangerous if Madueke gets hold of it. But Guardiol comes over brilliantly, and I have to say, some of the defensive interventions have been absolutely superb so far in this game. This time it's the turn of Josep Guardiol to get in the way. Here's Mosquera now, knocks it forward to Guimaraes. Guimaraes to Ødegaard. Ødegaard with the ball over the top, looking for Ben White, but Ben White won't be able to keep that one in play. And behind it goes for a goal kick to Manchester City. It has been a fascinating affair so far, folks. Finals don't always live up to the occasion, do they, in terms of goals? And there are questions, is this really a final? But I'm sure if you're a Manchester City or a Gunners fan right now, it is a final and you will gladly take the trophy. Start the season. The symbolism of silverware before the season begins, and now Phil Foden running forward, doing really well, picks out Doku on the near side. Jeremy Doku turning inside, plays it to Foden, can't pick him out with the pass. That was a big opportunity. Had the pass been a little bit more accurate there from Doku. As now the Gunners come forward, Ødegaard in the centre. Passes the ball right to Madueke. Madueke coming up against his compatriot Nico O'Reilly. Madueke getting past him here. Drives the ball towards the byline. And then does well to turn the ball back to Ben White. White into the centre to Luis Skelly. Skelly back over to Madueke on the near side. Madueke considers his options, passes it short to Ødegaard. Ødegaard from the edge of the ball, plays the ball towards the far post. It's going to be headed on, and it's another opportunity, and Arsenal have made it 2! And would you believe it? The Gunners have absolutely taken command of this affair. This time it's the turn of Kai Havertz to turn it in. And it is red flag galore here in Cardiff. Kai Havertz makes it a second. It's another goal, all too easy for the North London 11. Madueke starts the move off on the right-hand side. Plays it into Ødegaard, who then decides to go over to the left. Solis will get the assist there. Just a simple head forward to Kai Havertz, who heads it down really well, and Donnarumma makes a real meal of that. It's headed down and with power by Havertz. But Donnarumma dives down. He gets part of his glove on it. As he gloves it, he sort of gloves it into his laterals. I think that's the name for that type of muscle. And it hits his body as he dives down. And that is not the best of start for the Italian. 2 conceded. Just 29 minutes gone. An assist already for the debutant. A goal for Kai Havertz. A goal for Calafiori. It's Arsenal 2, Manchester City 0, and Enzo Maresca is not getting the start he wants. As City try to release the runner Haaland, Gabriel stands excellently in his way. Ødegaard now knocks the ball back to White. And one thing that really stood out in that goal by Arsenal was just how well they switched up play. They were working an angle on the right-hand side. Madueke doing really well down that right-hand channel. He played it into Ødegaard, and Ødegaard just had that excellent vision. He got his head up. He saw the space on the left. He played a beauty of the ball over to Solis. And Solis knew exactly what he had to do, and he knew exactly where Kai Havertz was as well in the centre. And Havertz, it's a very well taken finish because he is close to the goalkeeper, but he knows to head it down, and he heads it down well. And although it looks like an error by Donnarumma, it has to be said it's a very good piece of centre-forward play by Kai Havertz. It's exactly, in fact, what you'd expect Erling Haaland to be doing, except it's not Haaland, it's Havertz who's been afforded the opportunity. And with just over 15 minutes remaining of the first half, Arsenal are leading here at the Principality. What responses do Manchester City have? Or will Arsenal be able to maintain their 100% record against City in this competition? O'Reilly passes back to Guardiol. Guardiol switches up and goes over on the right-hand side to Semenyo in the sunshine, but Semenyo can't keep that one in play. And out it goes for a throw to Arsenal. It is interesting when you think about that Enzo Maresca appointment. He was good at Chelsea, but I don't think anyone would say he was brilliant at Chelsea. So we really await to see what he will offer as the chief tactician for Manchester City. Elliot Anderson now on the halfway line. Goes over to Kusanov. Kusanov plays back inside to Diaz, who then in turn goes over to Guardiol. Guardiol now back to Diaz. This time to Kovacic, who puts the ball through the centre. Foden brings it down, tries to find Haaland, but again Gabriel is in the way, and Calafiore able to mop up before Semenyo can get hold of the ball as it went loose. And I have to say, the Arsenal defence, goodness me, they are so well organised. Every time City get forward, they know exactly where each of them are. It really is impressive to watch. Foden now to Guardiol. It's been a while since we've had back-to-back title winners apart from a certain Mancunian club in action today, but could Arsenal do it? Well, Mikel Arteta is trying to prove a case that they might be able to. Semenyo tried to put the ball in the centre. It catches something off Calafiore on the way through and goes behind for a corner kick to the citizens, who have everything to do now in the remainder of this game. Over comes Phil Foden to take the corner on the far side. Number of empty seats around the ground. Foden with the in-swinger towards the far post, headed over. And it's going to be called back, in fact, by Sam Barrett. Guardiol was the man who arrived and managed to head it into the roof of the net, but the referee had already blown his whistle. And I think the corner's going to be retaken here, as both sets of captains, two very, very respected players, Ruben Diaz and Martin Odegaard. I mean, what players indeed to be wearing the captain's armbands today. And the corner will in fact be retaken from the far side, so Phil Foden will have another opportunity to ask questions of the City defence here. Offered the short ball by Anderson, but he decides instead to put it towards the back post. Guardiol, again the man to pick it out. Guardiol towards the back post, headed away for now. Can Arsenal get clear? They managed to get outside of the box for now, where Anderson is there to meet it. He passes short to Foden. Foden thinks about going over on the left-hand side. Instead, he puts the ball in towards the centre. And it's just too far beyond any Manchester City body. Although Gabriel was doing well to get in the way of that, had it been nearer a City man. Looked for a moment like he might have caught a bit of it on the way through, but it is a goal kick. And that has been the story, I think, of City's half so far. They've gotten themselves into good positions, or positions at least where they could be threatening, but they've lacked a little bit of quality with those balls into the box. And that is a strange thing to say about Manchester City. Lacking quality is not something you expect to say with this side. But then again, they are a side potentially in transition, especially in that midfield. Departure of big names. And they've got to think about how they're going to rebuild. I wouldn't be surprised if there's another midfield addition to the side before the transfer window slams shut. There is the names of a certain Chelsea and Argentinian midfielder being linked with them. Enzo Fernandez, I think, the top choice for many a City fan, but my understanding is that avenue may already have closed. Or maybe they can convince Rodri to stay. I think that is, however, quite far gone. As Manchester City earn themselves a free kick in their defensive half for a push by Ben White on Jeremy Doku. Wondered for a moment if it might have gone the other way, but actually Doku was going to be adjudged to have committed a foul, but it will be a free kick to Manchester City just before the halfway line. Diaz and Guardiol knock it between the two of them for a moment. This time played into Doku. Doku now using his pace really well. Plays the ball forward to Haaland. Here's an opportunity for Haaland. His first sight really of goal. He takes the shot, but he's really going to struggle there. His touch just puts the ball a little bit too far in front of him. And the big man unable to take advantage of that opportunity. His first touch just takes the ball a little bit too far forward and a bit too far wide. And then he ends up more or less chipping it over the top of the crossbar. and behind for a goal kick. Excellent ball, though, from Jeremy Doku, and that is where City can be so dangerous. When those two men, Doku and Semenyo, manage to get forward at pace. Goal kick is given away, though. Kusanov tries to get in there quickly to get a forward movement for City. Lacks a bit of quality, though, on the pass, and he puts it straight out for a throw on the far side for Calafiori to take. Calafiori lines up the throw, goes in towards Lewis Skelly in the centre. Erdegaard knocks it over to White. White with the ball over the top. Madueke will chase this one down. Here's another big opportunity for the Gunners. Madueke arriving into the box. Madueke still going here. Madueke with a shot, but it's saved well by, and in fact the flag's already up against Noni Madueke, so it wouldn't have counted anyway. But Madueke has constantly, he's a fair way offside there looking at the replay. Madueke has constantly caused problems when he's got forward down that right hand side. Didn't quite get the amount of power he would have liked in the end there on that shot. But it's another opportunity for Arteta's men. You really do think Arsenal under Mikel Arteta is a fantastic success story for football. There were times when you wondered if they were going to stick with him, but he's built something really, really special here. Erdegaard knocks the ball forward for Havertz. Havertz able to turn, then plays out on his left to Solis. Solis arriving in the box. Lovely little give and go between him and Calafiori. Calafiori goes down in the box, and I think that's going to be a penalty to Arsenal. Sam Barrett gives a yellow card. Or has he gone to Calafiori there? Is that a yellow card to Calafiori? Let's check here for you in just a moment. Calafiori goes down. I think he's gone for simulation here. Yes, it is. It's simulation by Ricardo Calafiori. And looking at the replay, Sam Barrett, who pulled out the yellow card immediately there, he was so quick in that I presumed he was going for a penalty. But he's got that absolutely spot on, the referee. Simulation by Calafiori. It's the second man to go in the book for first Arsenal player. But he joins Phil Foden in Sam Barrett's book now. It's two players booked, one from either side, as the free kick is taken by Donnarumma. Over to Diaz. Diaz goes back to the goalkeeper. Donnarumma has to clear quite quickly over on the right-hand side. Headed forward by Anderson. And Anderson again picking up the ball in the centre. Goes over to O'Reilly. O'Reilly nods it beyond the halfway line. Now has Madueke to contend with. He goes back in the centre to Anderson, who has done really well at finding those areas in the centre of midfield. He goes to Kusanov. Kusanov down the far side to Semenyo. Semenyo trying to make his way past Calafiori and past Lewis Skelly. Forced to go back to Anderson. Anderson into Diaz. City getting themselves further up the pitch here with just over 5 minutes remaining of this first half in Cardiff. Is there a goal for Manchester City before that whistle? Semenyo back to Anderson. Anderson with the ball in towards the centre, looking for Doku, who's there at the far post. That's brilliantly brought down by Doku. Doku in the centre, Haaland with the shot, saved by Raya. Will he get another chance? No, he won't, because Calafiori is able to mop up and clear. It's another big save by the Spanish shot stopper, but this is given away now. Foden through to Semenyo. Semenyo keeps the ball in play in towards the centre. Doku puts it out for a goal kick. Or actually, I think Ben White has managed to turn it behind for a corner. It's another huge opportunity for the citizens. It is excellent work by Ben White, who actually manages to get just about anything on the ball to stop Doku's effort from being on target. But it is superb goalkeeping as well from David Raya, who has done so well with everything he's had to face so far in this game. Elliot Anderson ready with the corner on the near side, directed into the centre, headed away by Havertz though. Out to Kusanov. Kusanov knocks the ball in front of him. Now Kovacic will try and run forward, plays the ball in, and once again David Raya is there to get down and make the save. It's not the most convincing of shots from Kovacic. You're always going to bet the keeper to save that one, but he still does have to dive down and make sure his timing and positioning is accurate. Arsenal 2, Manchester City 0. It's the first trophy opportunity of the campaign, and at the moment, it's all about Mikel Arteta's Arsenal. As David Raya clears the ball through the centre. Nicely picked up here. Ødegaard with the opportunity to run forward, linking up with Havertz. Now over to Madueke. Madueke arriving to the edge of the box. Madueke with a shot, but it's straight into the gloves of Gianluigi Donnarumma. That's a comfortable save for him. Maybe he started to warm up a little bit more, Donnarumma, after perhaps a slightly inauspicious start for the Italian keeper. Here's Kovacic now. Arriving at the halfway line, passes the ball to his right, to Kusanov. Kusanov down the far side channel to Semenyo. Semenyo back inside here to Elliot Anderson. Anderson to Diaz. Seeing Jack Grealish warming up along the touchline, you wonder, will he be part of Maresca's plan? I'm sure there's plenty of club who will gladly take him on, even if that's on a loan deal, if he doesn't feature part of the Manchester plans. Lewis Skelly holds up play nicely on the halfway line, then plays it back to White. White then goes back to Mosquera. Mosquera through to Ødegaard once again. Now knocked to Guimaraes. Guimaraes with a lovely through ball. He's looking for Havertz, can't quite pick him up, but the ball bounces loose to Madueke here. Madueke coming through on that right-hand side, arriving to the corner of the box in Madueke. Lovely little give and go here between him and Ben White. Ben White with the ball in the centre. Opportunity for Calafiori arriving. Takes it on the volley. And it goes behind for a goal kick. That would have been quite a finish from the Italian on the volley had he managed to connect with that one on target. It's a very, very nice give and go between Madueke and White. A lovely ball in from White. And Calafiori mighty close with the volley, and he arrives in a wonderful position, the Italian there. Donnarumma's clearance is intercepted by Solis. Can't quite get back to it though to prevent it from going behind for a goal kick. But again, that just shows the determination of the Gunners. They are that bit more decisive to fight for every ball when they go loose. Picking up those second balls a little bit more quickly than Manchester City at this time. But now the ball comes through to Jeremy Doku here on the near side. He's up against Mosquera. White rushing back as well. And Mosquera has to put it behind, and it goes all the way behind for a corner by the Arsenal centre-back, Christian Mosquera. Just had to do what was needed there. I think he was hoping it would go for a throw. Ultimately, however, it goes behind for the corner. Elliot Anderson, the man over this one here on the near side. Can City find something with just 2 minutes remaining on the clock before the 45? Haaland hustling in the centre of the box. Ball come through, Raya there. Makes the catch. Gets up really well there, the Spanish goalkeeper. Ready to catch immediately. And that's some solid goalkeeping by David Raya. Remember when Arsenal brought in David Raya? Few fans a little bit unsure why he was replacing Aaron Ramsdale, who was in turn a fantastic keeper in his day for Arsenal. But you have to say, David Raya really has been a fantastic addition to this side as his clearance goes through into the sunshine. Headed away for now by Diaz. Try and find Haaland on a quick break. Arsenal, however, able to get the ball back to their goalkeeper. And Raya once again makes a clearance, looking to find Havertz. Kusanov able to get in front of him, who clears to Foden. Foden intercepted by Lewis Skelly. Foden wants a foul there. Referee says play on. Guimaraes knocks forward to Skelly. Skelly with a lovely ball through to Ødegaard. Ødegaard trying to pick up Havertz. It's well defended though by the City captain, who manages to find Jeremy Doku with the ball through, but Ben White just stands in front of him there and doesn't allow Doku through. The 45 minutes now gone. Madueke coming through here on the near side. Madueke, lovely ball back to Ødegaard. Ødegaard outside the box, plays to Havertz now. Havertz lays it off to Solis, back to Havertz into the box. Havertz with the ball in the centre, now out to Ødegaard with the opportunity. Erdegaard can't quite convert the opportunity. Havertz once again, this time out to Guimaraes. Guimaraes within the box. Guimaraes' attempt is deflected through. Kovacic just about manages to make the clearance there, but only out to Noni Madueke, and City are under pressure as we approach the end of this first half. Here's Madueke. Goes to Skelly. Skelly into Guimaraes. Back to Erdegaard. Giving away though to Doku. Doku turns quickly back to Guardiola. Now into Anderson. One last break. Could it be on the cards for Manchester City before the half-time whistle? Phil Foden comes forward. Passes over on his right to Kushnerov. Kushnerov back inside to Anderson. That will be half-time. And it's been a dominant performance by the Gunners. They open up their account in under 1 minute by Riccardo Calafiore. Havertz headed home from close range just before the half an hour mark, and we go in at the Principality in the first opportunity for silverware of the season, with Arsenal firmly in command. It's Arsenal 2, Manchester City 0. We'll be back in just under 15 minutes to bring you all the action from the... Join us then. Well, welcome back and thank you for joining us once again as we're getting ready to bring you all the action as Arsenal continue to take on Manchester City for the first chance of silverware of the campaign. And before I bring you up to speed with all the action from the first half, just to remind you that you're here tuning in to unofficial and studio-based commentary, bringing you all the audio-based action of the game. But if you have the opportunity to tune in via your domestic TV provider, then of course that's where you should be following the game. But if not, well, my name is Simon Walters and I'm very happy to be here joining you wherever you're listening from around the world this afternoon, where Arsenal are firmly in command of this game. They lead by 2-0, and they have been the vastly superior side so far today. Calafiori put them in front in under 1 minute, and Havertz headed home just before the 30-minute mark to see City go down by 2-0. And that's the scoreline at the end of the first half. Arsenal have looked comfortable in every area of the pitch. Their defence has done brilliantly at getting themselves into shape and nullifying City's attack in most of the occasions that they've got themselves forward. And that's even bearing in mind that Mosquera is filling in as the centre half and will be for a good chunk of the opening stages of this season. The midfield with Guimaraes in there has looked free. Ødegaard's been able to move forward very well, and it's been a very strong performance by the Gunners so far. City have had moments. Jeremy Doku getting forward on the left-hand side. Semenyo trying to find space. And Anderson has done really well on debut at picking out those pockets of space in the midfield. But they have lacked a little bit of quality so far with the ball that they put into the box. Haaland perhaps hasn't quite had the service that he would have been looking for so far in this game. They do, of course, have a number of options on the bench. Ryan Cherki, I'm sure we'll see come on at some stage. Maybe Marmoush as well might come on, seeing City potentially play into a 4-4-2 formation should they decide to bring on both men to lead the attack. Players now coming back onto the pitch. Enzo Maresca walking behind his players as they make their way out of the tunnel. And I can see a certain Jack Grealish stripped off and ready to come on. So I think we're going to see a return to City action for Jack Grealish. Now, this could be a really interesting decision from Enzo Maresca. Is this perhaps a sign that Jack Grealish will be featuring in his plans? I'll be honest with you, that's not the substitution I was predicting to see. I thought maybe Ryan Cherki would be a more likely man to bring on there. Maresca has opted to place his trust in the feet and the calves, of course, let's be honest, we all know about his calf muscles, of Jack Grealish. Will this be his chance to show that he is among the contenders? But it also looks to me that Arsenal have made a change as well, and that is Declan Rice, who appears to be getting himself ready to come on. So 2 changes in midfield, 1 for either team. Haven't seen yet who's come off in their replace. I can actually see now it is Doku who is replaced by Jack Grealish. I have to say I'm ever so slightly surprised by that. I thought Doku did look good. And as for Arsenal, with Declan Rice now on the pitch, I can see Lewis Skelly is still there, so I'm wondering if it's Guimaraes, in fact, who has gone off here. It is Bruno Guimaraes who has replaced. I really did think Guimaraes was offering an awful lot to that Arsenal midfield, but I reckon as well this is just now a chance for Arteta to see what his starting 11 will look like. He has fantastic depth in that squad, doesn't he? We are now ready, folks, for the second half to begin. City will now be playing from left to right. The pitch is now bathed in sunshine as the fans gradually make their way back to their seats, and we are now underway. The ball played back by City, getting us going all the way back to Donnarumma, who's outside of his area. Clears the ball, long looking for the run of Haaland. Unable to pick him out with the direction there, and Arsenal will come and just mop up possession. In fact, I think the referee's just going to hold up play for a moment here as the second half gets underway in earnest. Arteta with the chance to give some further instructions. We know how solid, of course, this team are in defence. City play the ball back to Donnarumma, and he'll go again from just outside his area. Looks to play the ball, but he's still waiting here. Donnarumma, and Havertz was trying to pounce on him there. Now he does finally pick out Haaland, who knocks forward to Jack Grealish, but I think Haaland is adjudged to have gone offside there. Doku is now making his way out of the tunnel. I'm not sure if there were an injury issue or anything like that has caused Doku to be withdrawn. Gabriel with the ball. Turns round to Mosquera. Mosquera with the ball, looking long for Ødegaard, but Ødegaard's touch just lets it go all the way back through to Guardiol. Guardiol passes the ball back to his goalkeeper, Donnarumma now. On the edge of a D, with the clearance looking long. Grealish tries to head, but Mosquera is there before him. Now back into Mosquera, who's right up here into the centre. Mosquera brought down, no foul. City have a chance potentially for a quick break. They decide instead, though, to turn the ball back to Diaz. Diaz in no rush as he weighs up his options, then passes to Guardiol. Guardiol plays the ball through the centre, but that's intercepted well by Declan Rice. Anderson then tries to head forward. Anderson now once again fighting for it, this time against Ødegaard. Back out to Lewis Skelly. Lewis Skelly with the ball on the left-hand side, and now here's a big chance for Solis to run into the centre of the ball. Solis with the ball forward. Ødegaard going through. Ødegaard with the tap home. Arsenal make it 3, and just like in the first half, they have started this one in absolute brilliance. It's Captain Fantastic Martin Ødegaard has given Gunners 7 heaven as they now go 3 goals to the good. And Manchester City are absolutely stunned here. Skelly plays the ball through to Solis, and Solis, who's looked really good in that position, dribbles to the edge of the box, passes through to Ødegaard, who managed to take it round Guardiol, and then has time to just caress the ball into the back of the net. It's the easiest of goals for Martin Ødegaard, and I have to say, this is not the scoreline that I felt was in the script. We saw this competition last year go to penalties, and I felt I wouldn't be surprised if something similar happened. We saw the last time Arsenal play Manchester City go to penalties. But I'll tell you what, City fans, if you are tuning in, remember there is the curse of this trophy. Only one team in 15 years has won this trophy and the Premier League. Foden now coming forward. So maybe it's a sign. Maybe what you can take away from this, if you don't come back into this game, is maybe it's your sign you'll win the Premier League. But right now, Arsenal's brilliance is really on show. Here now, in the right-hand side is Semenyo. Semenyo tries to play the ball into Haaland. Haaland just about manages to get his head on it. Goes back out to Foden on the edge of the box now to Kovacic. Elliot Anderson brings it down, tries to take the shot. Unable to direct that really anywhere near the goal. So the timing of that goal, I'm just seeing if it's been officially stated yet. 48 minutes, so not quite as quick into the start of the half as the first goal by Arsenal. But boy, oh boy, what a performance they put in here. Martin Ødegaard really has been brilliant. I was thinking how Bruno Guimaraes was really helping release him before. But Declan Rice added to that as well. And Solis, 2 assists on his league debut, which is a fantastic start for the man formerly of the Belgium League at Club Brugge. Joining up in the summer transfer window and already looking to be a fantastic addition to Mikel Arteta's side. Now here's Phil Foden, passes back to Guardiol. gets a push there, Phil Foden, and earns a free kick in the City defensive half. Phil Foden takes it quickly, plays the ball out onto the right-hand side. Semenyo brings it down with his right foot, but he's adjudged, I believe, to have gone offside. Maresca has it all to do now in this performance. He was actually just pulled back there for the free kick, and now City with the ball once again inside their own half. Guardiola turns back to his keeper. If ever there were a test for a new manager, this really is it. Guardiola goes back to Donnarumma under pressure from the arriving Havertz. Plays out on the left-hand side. Grealish fighting for it, just about manages to release Nico O'Reilly. Back into Foden. Now O'Reilly once again. O'Reilly looking to come down on the far side to Grealish. Grealish trying to cut his way back inside. Passes back to Guardiola. Now over to Elliot Anderson. Anderson dribbles towards the halfway line. Not the debut he would have wanted so far. Knocked forward here to Phil Foden. Foden into Semenyo now. Here's an opportunity for City. Semenyo into the centre. Can Haaland get hold of that? Turn round by Nico O'Reilly, but he can't quite get the touch on that, and it goes back to David Raya. And now the ball spills out here to Kovacic. Can he try and get momentum going for the beleaguered Manchester City at this time? Kusanov knocking forward to Semenyo. Semenyo plays back in towards the centre. Kovacic once again linking up with Foden here. Kovacic now over to Guardiola. Guardiola over on that left-hand side to where he can find Jack Grealish. Grealish coming in towards the centre. Back to Kovacic. City trying to get everything forward now at this point. They've got nothing to lose right now, the citizens. Here is Semenyo. Semenyo in towards the centre, but that's brilliantly intercepted by Gabriel, who's able to pick out Ødegaard. Ødegaard with the ball through to Kai Havertz. Kai Havertz is caught there, and that is a foul. And I think it is a yellow card. It's the second City player to find himself in Sam Barrett's book. This time goes to Josep Guardiola, the Croat. Into the book. A right shake of the head as he wanders off. Really has not been the day in Wales that City would have been hoping for, as they do now line up a change. Of this one, you might be surprised to hear this one. Marmoush is coming on, but he's not going to be joining Erling Haaland. He's going to be replacing Erling Haaland. He did score a brace in pre-season, and City fans will be hoping that he can bring something a bit different now. The other change to tell you about is Mark Gay coming on for Nico O'Reilly. We'll see exactly how that results in a change. I doubt that it will be Mark Gay on the left-hand side, so whether that means Guardiola moves over into the left-hand side to allow Mark Gay to fit into the centre. And Omar Mamouche will now try and be the difference maker for Manchester City. Here is Mark Gay now, of course, a trophy winner in this competition. He lifted it last year when he was still wearing red and blue. Now the ball trying to find Semenyo, headed down towards Anderson. Semenyo will try and get past Calafiori here. He does well to turn round here, Semenyo. Semenyo with the ball in towards the centre. Grealish is there. Grealish dribbling through. Grealish still going here. Will he be able to try and find the ball out of his feet? Ødegaard is the man ultimately to come in and take it away from him. Grealish just waited there a little bit too long. Ødegaard now taken out by Elliot Anderson, and that's surely a foul as well. No card given, I don't think. Really nice pickpocketing of the ball just there by Martin Ødegaard. Well, actually, it might be that the foul was committed by Lewis Skelly, who just stayed in a little bit too late. So City building here. Once again, Marmouche coming through the centre here. Omar Marmouche plays it back to Grealish. Grealish plays the ball in towards the centre to Phil Foden. Foden back out to Anderson. Anderson from the edge of the box tries to take the shot, catches something on the way through, and ends up going straight into the gloves of David Raya. Very comfortable save for the Arsenal keeper. He did have to make some big saves in the second half. That certainly wasn't one of them. Raya once again with the ball, this time to Gabriel. Gabriel comes to the corner of his box, then turns round before he can be tackled by Foden. Passes to Raya, who shows his footwork, then goes over to Mosquera. Mosquera dribbles forward, now plays to Luis Skelly in the middle. Miles Luis Skelly turns well, finds Calafiori to his left. Back into Luis Skelly now. Skelly this time into Ødegaard. Now back to Declan Rice. Declan Rice to Miles Luis Skelly, and Arsenal very happy passing it comfortably between their midfielders and defenders right now, in no rush whatsoever, as you might expect for a team currently leading here by 3-0. Havertz, nice little link up there with Ødegaard. Havertz now running forward. Havertz plays the ball inside, and he's wrestled off to the ball there by Kusanov. City need to try and recycle and recuperate quickly as Foden is caught by Kai Havertz, wins a free kick. Anderson, the man to take it quickly, passes over to Diaz. And now here is the substitution I expected to see earlier. Ryan Cherki is having a quick sip of water before he will make his way onto the Principality. The ball is played long into Marmoush. Marmoush manages to get the ball back to Guardiol, who's high up the pitch, in towards the centre to Foden, who really scuffs that one. I don't know if he was trying to take a shot there or trying to pick out Semenyo. Either way, it's easy for the Arsenal defenders to mop that one up. But the ball goes through all the way back to Donnarumma, and I think actually it's pulled back for a throw before to City, as Arsenal couldn't quite keep the ball in play there. Cherki still not on the pitch yet. Anderson to Kusanov. Kusanov rolls the ball back to Diaz. Now to Mark Gay. Does appear to be in that more left-back position. Grealish. Back into the centre to Kovacic. This time over to Kusanov. Does cut quite a long way inside Kusanov, doesn't he? Now to Anderson, high up the pitch here, Elliot Anderson. On his right to Semenyo, offering the give and go. Semenyo decides to take it on himself. Plays into the centre to Foden. Foden knocks it straight back to Semenyo. Semenyo goes back to Guardiol. Now Diaz, over to Gay. Gay dribbles into the sunshine and plays off to his left to Grealish. Grealish trying to come past White. Grealish cutting inside well. Grealish looking to find that space. On the link up potentially with Margay. Doesn't go for it, so he turns back to Diaz. Now through into the centre. Ball comes out to Kusanov. Taken on by Foden. Foden who goes over on that left hand side to Grealish, who's there to chest it down, bring it under his control. Grealish back to Gay. 1-2 between them. This time Grealish puts it in towards the centre, and it's headed behind. I think it's headed behind for a corner, although it looks actually like Sam Barrett might have declared that one a goal kick. I thought Gabriel was the last man to touch that. Let's have another look at the replay here for you. It's a nice ball in from Jack Grealish. And that might have come off there, Guardiol in fact. And now City will make 2 changes. Rico Lewis is also one of them. Phil Foden is making way. Elliot Anderson also making way here as well. And I think Phil Foden, he's looked lively. He's looked good, but he will be disappointed there, the Englishman. He knows this is an important season for him. Arsenal also getting a change ready. From what I can see, Calafiore is making his way off to a standing ovation from the fans, and Hincapié getting ready to make his way on. Noni Madueke is also off, and he's going to be replaced by, just think about this for a change, Bukayo Saka. Both sides, of course, such high quality, but I really do think that Arsenal bench is something special. To be able to bring on the likes of Hincapié, Saka, Declan Rice, who came on at half-time, it just shows what incredible depth they have, as Miles Lewis-Skelly gets a punch in, or gets a shove in the back, I should say, from Semenyo, who then offers to pull him up to the ground, and Semenyo showing his gentlemanly side there, I guess, or just that he wants the game to be underway quickly. So can those changes make the difference? I think Cherki is the one many a fan would have wanted to see come on, perhaps at half-time as well, when City were just 2 goals down. Now they've got 3 goals to make up the deficit. And it seems peculiarly that their hope is just not to have too much damage, as Cherki tries to play a pass to Semenyo and ends up passing it behind him. Those two perhaps not communicating as they might have hoped for. Throw for Arsenal. Goes all the way back to Christian Mosquera. Mosquera over to White. White plays the ball, looking to try and catch the run of Bukayo Saka. Just plays it a little bit too much. Saka's legs, of course, probably need a little bit of warming up. No pre-season involvement for him. Not the best pre-season for Arsenal. They needed penalties in a few of those games. Manchester City actually looked far more dominant in the pre-season campaign. And now here is Rico Lewis. Lewis with the ball over to Semenyo. It's a nice pass that from Lewis for having just come on. Semenyo to the corner of the box. Tries to play it back for Cherki, but again the two of them don't link up, and Ødegaard does well to get him away there. Then to release Kai Havertz. Now here's Gabriel. Gabriel plays the ball back to his keeper. Raya over the face of goal to Mosquera. Shows something that he can get away with doing that. That's what they tell you not to do in training, isn't it? Raya dribbles the ball to the edge of his D, then plays over to Gabriel. Gabriel into Ødegaard. Ødegaard on the turn to Declan Rice. Rice again to Ødegaard. That's a nice pass from Ødegaard, from Rice, sorry, to Ødegaard. And now here's a chance for Bukayo Saka to pick up the ball down the channel on the far side. Will Saka be able to get there? He's up against his man Guardiola. He does. Saka with the ball into the box. He tries to take on the shot himself and puts it straight into the side netting. And you think there Saka might have done a little bit better to put the ball back into the centre. It's a very nice pass from Declan Rice because he plays it in front of Ødegaard. And then Ødegaard with the ball to Havertz, who plays it well to release Bukayo Saka. But he has bodies arriving in the centre there, Saka, and the pass would have been the more opportune thing to go for. Cherki in the centre of midfield, plays back to Diaz. Back again to Ryan Cherki here. Marmoush drops back in and then turns over on the left-hand side to Grealish. Now picks up on the give and go with Jack Grealish. Marmoush trying to make his way past Christian Mosquera. Marmoush puts the ball in towards the centre, but it's a heavy touch from Ryan Cherki, and it allows the ball to roll all the way through to David Raya, who makes no turn in clearing up towards the run here of Havertz. Havertz fighting for it on the edge of the box. He's looking a little lonely there, Kai Havertz. Unable to make his way past the City backline on this occasion. Kovacic arriving to the halfway line to Cherki. In front of him on the right, Ryan Cherki. Lewis offers him the pass. Cherki decides to continue his run into the centre, then passes back towards Mark Gay. Gay now goes in the direction of the sun to Grealish. Grealish tries to cut back round here. Grealish cutting inside on his left foot. Plays back to Mark Gay. Gay into Kovacic. Kovacic with the ball over on the right hand side. Semenyo heads it on in towards the centre. Lewis trying to fight for it, but Gabriel is there to head it on to Declan Rice. But the ball runs loose. Here's Lewis. Here's a chance for Semenyo to get forward. But again, Gabriel does really well there to get in his way and nullify the attack that City were attempting to build. Scoreline remains Arsenal 3, Manchester City 0. A goal early on in this second half has created what seems to be an insurmountable lead for City to contend with, and Arsenal continuing to show that they are in charge of this tie and will be enjoying their first taste of silverware of the campaign as things currently stand. They waited so long, of course, to resume to the summit of English football. And there's a feeling, you have to say, among the fans that they can do it again, and they will take an awful lot of positives from today's event. Still a fair bit of football to play. Don't worry, City fans, there's still an opportunity for you to get involved perhaps. Raya plays the ball short to Ødegaard. Ødegaard to Skelly. Skelly back to Gabriel. Gabriel with the clearance through to the halfway line. Havertz tries to flick it on for Bukayo Saka. Dealt with by Diaz. Manages to find Guardiola, who turns the ball back to his keeper on the edge of the box. Now into Mark Gay, who has now dropped into that centre role. So Guardiola has popped out more to the left-hand side now. Gay able to run the ball to the halfway line. To Cherki. Ryan Cherki over to Semenyo. Semenyo to Cherki. Cherki bides his time, then tried to play the ball into the centre, looking for the run of Marmoush, but Declan Rice is perfectly positioned to get him away of that. Rice back to Lewis Skelly. Skelly wrestled off the ball and he earns a free kick for his team. Foul committed by Ryan Cherki, who is perhaps not yet to find his feet in this game. Of course, returning to the City side fairly late after his involvement in France's campaign during the summer. He'll be looking to try and bring something a little bit special. He is known, of course, for bringing the chaos factor. Can he find that within his locker room today? As Arsenal come forward on the left-hand side. Solis gives the ball to Hincapié. Hincapié plays back to Ødegaard. Ødegaard plays in here to Declan Rice in the middle. Hincapié on that left-hand side will try and find opportunities for Arsenal to look for those space. Could they extend their lead even further? Oh, that's given away. And now an opportunity to play the ball into Marmoush. Blocked by Miles Lewis-Skelly. And Arsenal win themselves a throw in their defensive half. No answers so far from Enzo Maresca. Just over 30 minutes remaining. Sorry, just over 20 minutes remaining. It is a big, big challenge. Are they missing some of those players? Rodri's leadership. Reinders, who moved away after just one season with the club. Savinho unavailable through injury. Are they missing those players right now? The one I think they're missing the most, though, is Bernardo Silva. That leadership in midfield, I think, is lacking for the Citizens at this time. As Gay picks up the ball just in front of the halfway line. Gay plays over on the left-hand side to Grealish. Grealish coming through, multiple Arsenal bodies surrounding him, so he goes back to Mark Gay. Gay dribbles forward this time, back to Grealish once again. Grealish really struggling to find that way free. He continues trying to run the ball and then he passes back to Kovacic. Kovacic over to Kusanov. Kusanov now turns the ball to Kovacic in the centre area. Kovacic back to Ryan Cherki in the middle. Cherki over to Semenyo. Semenyo back to Cherki. City lacking still that urgency when they come forward here. Kusanov to Diaz. Diaz to Gay. We need to see a little bit more of that pressing, that really looking like they want to score a goal here. Here comes Semenyo now arriving into the edge of the ball. Semenyo tries to pull it back to Cherki, but again the link-up to play between the two of them is lacking. And here's an opportunity for Declan Rice to run the ball forward. Rice still going here. In fact, it's Solis still going, and he's pushed down to the ground. And Solis earns the free kick. The man who's won 2 assists already on his debut for the Gunners. Christos Solis already looking like a big, big addition to the team. Mosquera plays on the right-hand side to White. Arsenal drop the ball back here to Mosquera. Then goes over to Rice. This time to Hincapié on the near side, just inside the defensive half, where Arsenal very, very happy to play out this game now, using their excellence in organisation. Here comes Ødegaard, who's got that third goal for the team. Ødegaard plays the ball to Rice. Rice releases Bukayo Saka down the right-hand side. Saka cuts inside nicely. Saka plays the ball in towards the centre to Solis. Back to Saka now. Saka out to the edge of the box. Ødegaard looked like he's going to take the shot. That's an excellent dummy, allowing for the ball to come into right. Another opportunity for Miles Lewis-Skelly. Can't quite get hold of that one. It's cleared by Manchester City, but only out to Skelly once again. But the referee has already blown his whistle for an offside. I think it's Miles Lewis-Skelly who wandered offside there after he somewhat squandered the earlier opportunity. No, in fact, it's Bukayo Saka who was offside in the build-up. 70 minutes on the clock. That's 20 to play. Now, this would go to penalties if it were to be all square at the end of the 90, which, like I mentioned, that was my prediction. No Fabio Vieira this time for Arsenal to score a winning penalty. He was the man who netted home last time against Manchester City in 2023. But it doesn't look like he'll be needed as Ryan Cherki arrives close to the box and turns and passes back to Kusanov. Kusanov into Semenyo. Semenyo to Rico Lewis. Back again to Cherki. Cherki dribbles the ball into the centre. Then plays out onto the left-hand side. Here comes Jack Grealish. He has done well at picking up the ball in those positions, Jack Grealish. Now trying to play the ball into the centre. Lewis goes down in the box. Play allowed to continue. Solis trying to make the clearance here. Solis does well to turn the ball into Gabriel as he was under pressure there. And Gabriel will do the rest of the clearing duties. And that's cleared brilliantly to Solis, who's run up well up the pitch. Now he plays the ball into Saka. Saka trying to get forward there. The touch just getting a little bit beyond him, allowing Donnarumma to come out and pour the ball away. As Bukayo Saka was doing brilliantly there at arriving with pace. But now Manchester City with Jack Grealish on the far side. Grealish trying to turn his way around Ben White. Cuts inside. Takes it on his right foot. Then puts the ball towards Marmoush, but Marmoush is beaten to it by Mosquera. David Raya plays the ball back out to Luis Skelly. Arsenal just playing the ball short between the players here. White knocking the ball forward, I thought, for Bukayo Saka. Instead, he appears to be going for a throw deep into the attacking half. Donnarumma comes right out of his box to prevent that from going out. Then passes into Kovacic. Kovacic taking charge of the ball in the attacking half. Rico Lewis now. Lewis over to Mark Gay. Gay goes to Grealish. Jack Grealish trying to put the ball into the centre. Marmoush heads down, comes out to Guardiol. Guardiol back to Grealish. I wonder why he didn't shoot there, Guardiol. He might have had a go at that. Now out towards Ryan Cherki. Out towards on the edge of the box with the shot. Saved well by David Raya. Picked up by Semenyo. Semenyo going here, back to Kusanov. Now into Cherki once again, back to Kusanov, and City forced backwards after that moment of hostility arriving around the Arsenal box. Now play through to Semenyo, but there's too much on that, and Semenyo unable to get on the end of it. What might have been a nice opportunity gets a thumbs up. Two further changes for Arsenal on their way as we draw towards the closing stages of this game. One of them will be Gyökeres. Perhaps with the opportunity to prove his worth, he'll probably be coming on in replacement for Kai Havertz. I imagine a like-for-like change there. Chance to show why he should be considered in the starting 11 for Arteta as they begin their campaign. Luis Skelly. Think the other change might have been Zubimendi. We'll have to see in just a second as Ødegaard dribbles the ball forward. Plays to his right. Knocked forward by Havertz. Luis Skelly once again. Fighting for it against Rico Lewis. Rico Lewis losing out there to Ødegaard, but a foul is given against Luis Skelly, I think it is. And we will now be able to see those Arsenal changes, and it is Zubimendi. Big figure on his return, of course, from his involvement in the national side. And Kai Havertz, who will be replaced by Gyökeres. He got the goal to increase Arsenal's lead to 3-0. He now has the chance to have a rest. And the other change will be Miles Luis Skelly. He's going to be replaced by the Spaniard Zubimendi. And that is now the 5th change made by Arteta as he looks to secure a strong victory and his grasp of another piece of silverware. Semenyo with the ball on the near side. Semenyo dribbling towards the edge of the box. Going well here, Semenyo. Still going here A nice amount of pace. Semenyo plays back to Mark Gay. Gay dribbles forward. Looked like he's going to go to Grealish. Instead goes back to Kovacic. Kovacic plays into Semenyo. Semenyo with some good footwork in towards the middle, trying to find Marmoush. But again, the ball just has a bit too much on it, and it goes all the way back to David Raya, who knows exactly what he's doing there. And nothing Manchester City can do really is clicking right for them in this game. Rice plays the ball to Hincapie. Now to Solis, who goes back to Declan Rice. Rice holds the ball well in the near side, tries to find Solis. That's a lovely touch by Solis to look for Gyökeres. Gyökeres is beaten to it though by Mark Gay. Gay managed to find Kovacic with the ball. Kovacic goes back to Mark Gay. Now goes along to Ruben Diaz. You presume that will probably be the starting centre-back for most City games this season, Gay and Kovacic. Guardiola come through on the left-hand side. Cherki, who's dropped back into the halfway line. Cherki dribbling forward. Passes right to Kusanov. Kusanov now down the line to Semenyo. Semenyo, he's got Hincapie and he's got Solis to deal with, so he goes back to Cherki. Cherki into Kovacic in the centre. Now Gay. Gay to Grealish. Grealish with bodies around him finds Mark Gay. Mark Gay fighting his way through past Saka, managed to find Cherki just outside the box. Cherki with a lovely ball to Semenyo. Semenyo with a ball forward to Rico Lewis, but that again is some superlative defensive work by the Brazilian centre-back, forcing the corner and nullifying once more the Manchester City attack. It's nice play. It's a lovely pass by Semenyo through to Gabriel. But Gabriel is the man who gets there first, although I think there's going to be a look at a potential push against Guardiola off the ball by Ben White. So I wonder if we're going to see this again. The referee is just having a word here. I don't think, I've only seen the one replay to tell you exactly what happened, but Guardiola does go down in the box in the build-up. It's off the ball. It will be a goal kick to Arsenal. So good was Gabriel's defensive work, but he even managed to win the goal kick there as well. Raya's clearance is headed down by Gyökeres, but it goes straight to Rico Lewis. Kovacic in the centre. Plays the ball over to, well, he tried to play the ball over to the left to where Jack Grealish was running too, but it's a long way behind Jack Grealish, that pass from Mateo Kovacic, and they lose possession very needlessly there, Manchester City, with just over 10 minutes to play. That is not what they want to be doing, and that will be Kovacic's last involvement in the game. He's going to be replaced by Nico Gonzalez, like for like in that midfield pivot, and that is Enzo Maresca's last roll of the dice. So no game for Mateus Nunes or Ait Nouri. All substitutes now on the pitch. Enzo Maresca, can he do anything with those substitutions? It hasn't looked like it so far, it has to be said. As Mosquera receives a pass from his keeper, plays the ball towards Solis. Solis goes over to Bukayo Saka. Saka fighting his way for it as well to keep hold of possession, and then passes back to Ødegaard. Ødegaard with the ball into Rice. Rice dribbling forward and then plays out on the left-hand side to the run of Hincapie. Hincapie arriving to the edge of the box. Hincapie with the cross straight to Saka, who just puts it over the top of the crossbar. It's a lovely ball in from Hincapie. Perfectly positioned really for Bukayo Saka to take it on his left boot. And Bukayo Saka might just be a tad disappointed with himself there that he didn't at least force Donnarumma into a save. But if there's another goal in this game, I think it's going to go Arsenal's way, you know. Manchester City just really have not gotten out of second gear for the vast majority of this game. They had a moment in the first half where they managed to put a bit of pressure. They managed to force David Raya into some good saves. But really, this has very, very much been Arsenal's game. As Gay heads the ball forward to Rico Lewis. Lewis finds Cherki with the pass. Cherki with the ball forward to Marmoush. Back to Cherki. Cherki, will he take the shot from outside the box? Cherki getting towards the box. Cherki still going here. I don't know why he didn't shoot there, but he managed to find Semenyo with a pass. Semenyo with a shot. Saved by Raya. That's a big paw by Raya, who manages to get it out to Ben White. Good goalkeeping that from David Raya. Are surprised that he didn't take the shot himself, Ryan Cherki. Have confirmed as well that Jeremy Doku did pick up an injury in the first half. That's why he was replaced by Jack Grealish. So we'll have to find out later how much of an impact that might have, such a crucial player in the Manchester City attack. Gonzalez now. Back to Diaz. Once again with a ball. Looking here for the run of Guardiola coming high up the pitch. Too much on that. I feel like I've said that if you're playing bingo with my language, too much on it. If you had that on your bingo card, you would have certainly won the jackpot by now, because that is what City have done far too much, trying to put the ball to the runners in the box, but they've just lacked the accuracy of that passing. Declan Rice on the turn to Solis. Solis, who really has had an excellent debut, wins a throw to Arsenal just in front of the dugouts. Hincapie comes over to take it, passes back with the throw to Gabriel. Gabriel passes over to his centre-back partner, Ødegaard. With the link up in the middle with Zubimendi. Zubimendi picking again in the middle. Now goes forward to Ødegaard. Saka coming through in the right-hand side now. Saka running well and then passes the ball over on the left-hand side. Hincapie will run forward here. Hincapie plays the ball in the middle this time to Declan Rice. Declan Rice back to Gabriel. Linking up with Zubimendi in the centre. Over to Mosquera this time. Less than 10 minutes to go. Here's Ødegaard. Ødegaard with Zubimendi. Very, very, very confident in possession, Arsenal at the moment. A mighty, impressive sign of things to come in the forthcoming campaign. Declan Rice manages to find over on the right-hand side of him. They're coming together, in fact, there between Ødegaard and Jack Grealish. And it's a foul in favour of City. A yellow card, in fact, to Martin Ødegaard. And he just keeps his leg in a little bit late there, catches Jack Grealish. Definitely going to be wanting to remain injury-free. And Ødegaard hands the captain's armband on that to Bukayo Saka. And he's going to be replaced by another man who's held this trophy in his hands before, by Eberechi Eze. Another goal scorer withdrawn. Ødegaard, who scored Arsenal's third this afternoon, replaced for the final 6 minutes or so, 6-7 if you'll pardon the meme, by Eberechi Eze, Arsenal supporter in his youth, a man of the Arsenal Academy. Can he add another goal to the tally of the Gunners this afternoon in Cardiff? Here's Mark Gay, former teammate, of course, of Eberechi Eze. Gonzalez. Back on the halfway line to Ruben Diaz. Over to Semenyo now. Semenyo dribbles towards the edge of the box. Semenyo tries to put the ball in the centre, catches the deflection on the way through, but Kusanov able to pick up the ball as it bounces loose. Pass over to Ruben Diaz. Diaz attempts to find Marmoush, but it's again very well dealt with by the Arsenal defence. The ball comes out to Mark Gay. Gay plays to his left to Jack Grealish. Grealish facing Saka and White together. Forces Grealish back to Mark Gay. Gay with the ball in towards the centre, looking for Semenyo. Just about, well, he doesn't. I thought his touch was going to be good enough, but he doesn't manage to bring it under control, and the ball goes out harmlessly for a goal kick to Arsenal, and they will take that all day long, the Gunners. Declan Rice now. Turns well and passes the ball to Hincapié. Hincapié linking up with Zubimende, but then Hincapié just puts it out for a throw. Arsenal gave that one away slightly needlessly, allowing City to take it quickly. Rico Lewis to Kusanov. Kusanov goes over to Mark Gay, who's in the centre. Gay plays in to Gonzalez. Rico Gonzalez goes over to Jack Grealish, who's cut into the middle here. Grealish plays the ball off once again to Gonzalez. Gonzalez dribbling the ball forward here. Cherki now trying to get forward. He's caught just outside the edge of the box. That's a free kick. The City man wants to take it quickly as City supporters start to vacate the stadium here. It's not the afternoon they hoped for by any stretch of the imagination. Flags being wrapped up. The free kick won't be allowed to take quickly, so Cherki will have another chance here. 6 meters or so outside of the box. Ryan Cherki currently the only man over this one. Just right of centre. Is this an opportunity for City to at least get something on the scoreboard? Cherki with the ball into the centre. Declan Rice heads away so easily there, that head away from Declan Rice. Way too comfortable. Way too comfortable for Arsenal there. And I'm seeing questions on the fan pages here. People asking, are City going to be contending for the top tier in the forthcoming campaign? This outing has proven they've got an awful lot of work to do, and probably business needed in the transfer market. Jack Grealish, I have to say, is not a replacement for Jeremy Doku in the position that he's come on. Marmoush has hardly been able to influence anything since coming on. Erling Haaland was absent for large stages of that first half as well. Semenyo has looked lively, but they have got so much work to do, Manchester City, before the start of the season. Here's Guardiola now, arriving forward to pass the ball to Jack Grealish. Jack Grealish arriving in the box, tries to play the ball into the centre. Ben White blocks that attempt. Saka now keeping up with Grealish and able to win the goal kick against Jack Grealish. 2 minutes remain of the 90. And this has been a solid Arsenal performance. With a pre-season that saw them draw against Como. They lost to Dortmund in regular time in the pre-season and then won an agreed penalty shootout. Then they lost as well to Real Betis. So it wasn't the most convincing pre-season campaign, but if there's anything to judge this team on, this is surely it, as Marmoush chases down a pass here from Jack Grealish, arriving into the box, but once again Gabriel is there. No nonsense defending. Clears it out for a throw. What an absolute masterclass we're seeing in defending, particularly from Gabriel this afternoon, folks. Really has been absolutely superlative in so many aspects. Gay plays the ball back to Nico Gonzalez. Gonzalez over to Kusanov. Kusanov down the channel to Semenyo. Semenyo linking up with Nico Gonzalez. Semenyo plays in towards the centre. Gonzalez has it here. Kusanov dispossessed by Solis, by Zubimende in fact. No, it is Solis. Had it right first time. City have the throw. They take it to Ruben Diaz. Diaz into Rico Lewis. Lewis receives a bit of a push there from Hincapié. Free kick taken quickly. Hincapié then chops down excellently Rico Lewis, and here's another chance for a counter-attack from Arsenal. Gyökeres tries to nod it forward to Saka, but Gyökeres' pass is misplaced and City have a chance to come forward once again as we approach the 90-minute mark. Grealish plays in to Marmoush. Marmoush arriving to the centre of the box, plays out onto the right to Semenyo. Semenyo cutting inside. Semenyo still going. Semenyo around Eze. Semenyo going to the edge of the box. Semenyo manages to pick up Marmoush just about. Marmoush over to Ryan Cherki. Cherki trying to cut through in towards the centre. Semenyo can't get hold of that as the pass is just behind him, and that allows David Raya to make the clearance. Gyökeres will try and chase it down. I haven't said Gyökeres' name too much since coming on, but then again, they haven't really needed him. We are now past the 90-minute mark. Sam Barrett's final whistle, surely just moments away here at the Principality Stadium in Cardiff. Kusanov plays to Rico Lewis, and City have just been so predictable. Arsenal have known exactly how to deal with them throughout this game. Ryan Cherki runs the ball through the centre, passes to Mark Gay. Cherki plays over the top, looking for Marmoush to try and bring this one down. He's fighting for it against Mosquera. Mosquera pushes him to the ground, and that'll be a free kick to Manchester City. Marmoush making the most of what looked like a fairly innocuous push from Christian Mosquera. And you'd have to say now, unless he is genuinely hurt, get up. There's only 3 minutes of injury time which have been added on. Yeah, I think he's made a real meal of that one. Christian Mosquera seems to think the same as well. Marmoush is still down here, and I'm sure Maresca would like the Egyptian to be up quickly. If they could just at least get one goal on the score sheet to not go home with a sack full of goals and allow Arsenal a clean sheet, that might be something. City are now finally ready to get this free kick going. It's going to be Jack Grealish on the far side who will take it. Grealish readying up, puts the ball in towards the centre. Gay tries to head it on, comes out to Cherki in the centre of the box, but it's well met by Solis. City have to contend with going all the way back to their goalkeeper. Donnarumma plays the ball long and through the centre, but that goes straight to Gabriel. That's far, far too easy. Gabriel plays the ball to Gyökeres. Donnarumma is there to meet it before Gyökeres can get there. Donnarumma rolls the ball out to Mark Gay. The final whistle now, just seconds away for Arsenal to be crowned champions and to get their first silverware of the campaign. Semenyo coming down the right-hand channel. Semenyo still going here. Hincapié and Solis surrounding him. Semenyo still on his way. Hincapié does brilliantly to get in his way and to keep the ball in play. That is superb work by Arsenal, and that now will be the final whistle. Arsenal have done it, and what a way to do it as well. They have been absolutely dominant for nearly the entirety of this game. Calafiori put them ahead on just 25 seconds into the game. Havertz headed home on the half an hour mark. Martin Ødegaard netted the third minutes inside the start of the second half, and Arsenal have been superb today from start to finish. They are the deserved holders of this trophy, and they will be delighted to show to the world what they can offer this campaign. For Manchester City, there are worries. They were too predictable. They were too easy to break down today. Enzo Maresca will need to think about how he can motivate his team moving forward, but that is not the start he was looking for. We conclude from the Principality in Cardiff today with Arsenal winning their first trophy of the campaign. We really hope you've been enjoying our unofficial studio-based commentary of today's event. My name's been Simon Walters, bringing you all the action. We really hope you've enjoyed our coverage. Thank you so much for joining, and wherever you are around the world, we wish you a wonderful Sunday.